Thanks to the EA Creator Network for providing me a free code for businesses and hobbies. My opinions are my own. Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another video on The Sims 4 businesses and hobbies. This time I'm doing a review of all the Create a Sim stuff. And I gotta say, I was very surprised because I was not expecting much going into this particular pack for Create a Sim, but I think this might be one of my favorite expansion packs for Create a Sim so far. And that's saying a lot, especially considering we're nearing 20 of those now. But before I get into all the fashion, there's a couple other aspects I want to cover, like the new traits and the aspirations and the reward traits that go along with those. But there's another big aspect to this, because they did give a little bit of an update to tattoos in the base game, but there's a whole painting system as well that you only get with businesses and hobbies. This household on screen right now is actually the same one from the first trailer. You can go to the gallery and download them if you just put in Maxis for the EA ID, and you should find them pretty quickly. But I figured Amalia would be a really good example of this, because while there are some tattoos that come with this pack, and there's still, of course, the ones that we already have in the game, the tattoos on this sim in particular are almost entirely painted on from what I can tell. It's so detailed. The head tattoo is the only exception. That is a pre-made one, but just wow, I'm really shocked by the detail. But since nearly her whole body is covered in tattoos, I thought I'd just switch to auto to show paint mode a little bit better. So you have different layers that you can add on. So you can have multiple tattoos in one location of the body, but then you have the same paint mode that you may have already seen on horses, cats, dogs, and werewolves. But to have this customization on a Sim's body is pretty big. And there we go. I'm just using the stencil part of the tools to just kind of stay within a little guideline. That is cool that they still have that. And then there are these different ways you can pose the sim so that it is easier to paint on certain areas if you want. Interesting way of highlighting your sim's current region that you're painting on too, because then you have the part that you're painting on in full color, but then everywhere else is a lighter green. So there we go, just experimenting a little by drawing some badly shaped clouds and some seagulls. I'm not good at drawing at all, but those of you who are much better skilled at that sort of thing, I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun with this. There are some pre-made designs that you can work with too, including a pigeon, so I put those on both of Otto's shoulders. I wish there was a mirror tool, kind of like with the Touch of Magic tool in Disney Dreamlight Valley, so that it is easier to do something like that. I almost forgot, the paint mode for pets actually has a mirror tool, so that's really bizarre that tattoos don't. And yes, you can upload your own tattoos to the gallery and download them from other people, so you can have your tattoo catalog expanded even further. Oh yeah, it was also weird that I couldn't have the butterfly tattoo layered behind the heart. I don't know if that has to do something with working with the sim downloaded off the gallery. While we're still on the topic of tattoos, I'll show you all the new pre-made designs that came with the pack. So there's something for every region of the body here. That is really cool that now we have all of the separate body parts to work with, and also the layering. And it's funny too, some of the tattoos are obviously meant to be made by lower skill tattooists, because you have this whole skill that you get to work with if you decide to run a tattoo parlor. And then there are much better looking ones, and I think there's even more you get as you progress further with the tattooing skill. I'm not sure if they're completely new ones that you can't even see in this menu, or if they are some of the ones that you can already see. Yeah, there's another badly drawn one. This one's really cool. I love this bird design here. And then moving on to the legs. So there are some different designs for the left and right side. Yeah, there's a Volpez tattoo, reference to one of the void critters from Kids Room stuff. And I love the vines that go around the legs too. It's very like plant sim coded, I suppose. That fun's so funny. And then, yeah, another really nice design. Not sure what that last one is, but that's pretty cool as well. And then moving on to the lower back, there's some interesting designs going on here too. Yeah, there's almost half a dozen added just from this pack alone. The horse. Yeah, the birds. That's really cool. But in a second, we're going to see one that I really like, because they actually reuse some designs from the tarot cards in Life and Death that you can also see on the roadmap from that quarter. So that's a really nice touch. Then the belly, the raccoon's pretty funny. We also have this Pluro, I think it's called, one of the other void critters. We'll see another void critter tattoo in a second with the wisp. Yeah, looking very happy. Wee! And there's birds, and there's even a neck tattoo, so that's interesting. I did take off his hair for the head tattoos just so you could see them a lot better. That's really cool. I'm glad you can even tattoo on Sims heads. So overall, very cool. I love this upgraded system. Tattoos were long overdue for something like this. Now let's move on to the aspirations. There are two new ones in this pack. One is under the popularity category, Esteemed Entrepreneur. This sim wants to run a small business full of happy customers, either through business practices rooted in idealistic dreams or tricky hustles based on pragmatic schemes. The other aspiration is under Knowledge, Master Mentor. The sim wants to learn from talented mentors, then pass that knowledge on to others. Here's the different goals as well as the reward traits for both of the aspirations. So being an esteemed entrepreneur, that will involve things like getting small business perks, having a certain number of happy customers, and by the end, reaching the third level of either the Dreamer or Schemer alignments. And then the reward trait is Beloved Brand. These sims form a brand that is beloved by everyone, leading to more successful small businesses. Any small business they run will automatically have more positive reviews, and customers will leave with a positive relationship bonus if they had a good time at the business. The reward trait for Master Mentor is Motivational Speaker. The sim can give a motivating speech, providing themselves and others a bonus to skill gain, happiness, and skill perk discovery. Becoming a Master Mentor will involve things such as becoming actually a mentee first. So you gotta gain a mentor and get at least level 3 in 3 skills, and then be mentored for a while. And then eventually when you get to level 3, then you gotta become a mentor to another sim and mentor them and achieve level 8 in 3 different skills. And eventually you'll have to reach level 10 in 3 different skills, gain a mastery perk, and earn gold level 2 times from teaching hobby classes. I actually really like the sound of this one because it's not just a quick tutorial through the features of a pack, but it actually feels like it would have some long-term value. Because when I think of aspirations, I always think of the Sims 2's aspirations, where they are meant to be longer term. There are also 2 new traits in this pack, and you actually can't have them both at the same time because they are meant to be opposites. So we have Idealist. These Sims hold high moral standards and strive for a better world guided by their values and principles. They are committed to doing what they believe is right, even when it's challenging. The other new trait is Shady. These Sims excel at exploiting situations and bending rules for personal gain. Often without regard for conventional ethics or fairness, they thrive in mischievous activities and can influence others to adopt their way of living. Worth mentioning, there are 2 new likes and dislikes to go along with the new pottery and tattooing skills. So that is good they didn't forget that. Now for the feminine Create a Sim items, we have the new hairstyles, and I actually think they did pretty decently on the hair this time. These Bantu knots are pretty cool. They're different from the ones we had before. They almost like remind me of a mohawk formation, and this and the first hairstyle remind me a lot of the Werewolves pack. Like, it just feels like they'd be right at home there. This short hair is really nice. I like the texture on it. And then this shorter hair is nice too. It has a longer back. We have a head wrap that has a bunch of different colors, just depending on which hair color you go with. This more classic hairstyle is interesting. Love the strand coming off the side, but the texture does look very plasticky, almost like the 2014 base game hairs. Then we got another head wrap, that's cool. This one is kind of similar to that other hairstyle, except without the plasticky texture problem. So that's interesting. And then this hairstyle, I feel like we've seen it before. It looks very similar. This one's kind of interesting with the strands hanging off the front there. This one, I love this one. This is definitely one of my favorite hairstyles in the pack. It comes in both the standard and ombre variant, and I just had to show the green there because, especially with the ombre, that also feels very plant sim coated. Then we start off the top strong with this fancy one with even some see-through texture around the arms and some polka dot variants. That's pretty fun. And I don't like the texture of this shirt, honestly, but I do like the attempt to have a see-through mesh. And then we have just kind of like a regular crop top. This suit jacket's kind of interesting with the way that it closes up, though I'm not sure how much I'll use it in the long run. I love this turtleneck and vest combo, especially with the cat swatches. So it's like a perfect uniform for running a cat cafe with. Then we just have another sweater here. Yeah, some nice colors. I love this open jacket with a crop top. It's kind of like one we had in Moschino, except the jacket is opened up and you can see the t-shirt underneath. This top is pretty meh, I think. The texture just looks so stretched out on how the fit is, but this tank top is interesting with the see-through mesh at the top. You can kind of see her tattoos there. And then we got this vest with a hoodie underneath, but it has some dirty swatches, so that's cool. I like that they've done that in some packs more recently. This top has a nice styled colors going for it. This one I was surprised by, like, wow, it's actually pretty open button there. I think it's because with Masculine, they have a very similar one, but I'm glad they're less afraid to be a little sexier with some of their clothing options. And then we have like the complete opposite with the big oversized jacket. I like that one too. I think it's a great option for cold weather wear, especially if you have seasons. I like the fit of these pants. Nice texture and interesting. There's some houndstooth themed swatches too on that. And then we got some track pants that are a bit lower. Interesting, like how far the strings go down. We haven't really had that in The Sims 4 before. These pants are cool too, but totally caught me off guard with the length. Like, we normally don't get pants that are so long they cover the shoes. I like this skirt too. There's actually two different versions. There's the regular one you're seeing here, and then there's one with some underwear showing. Kind of reminds me a bit of Jade from the Herbs in that way. And then we have these kind of interesting pants. I'm not sure what you would call them. I guess they would be kind of like athletic, but then they have the buttons at the top. But some very interesting colors. Then we have some pants with dirty swatches that I think are meant to go with that vest with the hoodie layered underneath. I love these pants, especially with the anchor chain. Like, yes, reminds me of the sea. And these are quite interesting. Like, what do you call these? Man, there's just like so much like fashion, I don't know, but very different from what we're used to getting. It's great that even with the many DLCs we have for this game now, they still manage to surprise me on occasion with CAS. Time for the full body outfit. So we have just kind of like a regular outfit with an apron underneath. Then we have a sleepwear set, so that's cool. Wasn't expecting that, but nice to have more for sleepwear in the full body section. Then we have this dress, which also has some houndstooth patterns on it. And then we have another one with more houndstooth and plaid. And then we have this sort of like longer jacket with some interesting patterns and some leopard print at the very end. This outfit is so nice. It reminds me of custom content. Like, wow, I'll be using that one for sure. Got this very businessy looking outfit. Then we have an actual reference to the Herbs with Grandma Hattie's outfit. After that is a full body apron. Again, love the dirty swatches. Goes pretty well with pottery. Same thing with these overalls. And I love how some of the buttons are a little more open, a bit more rough around the edges instead of everything looking so clean all the time. And then this dress is really nice. So is this one. Some nice colors. I guess some patterns would be nice on that one. Maybe some polka dots or something. I don't know. And then we got another full body outfit right here. Maybe it could have worked well with hair salons if we got those in this pack. And then for the shoes, we have more sneakers. We've been getting a lot of like running shoes and sneakers lately. And then these high boots are quite nice. And then we have some lower boots and some really nice colors. And then we have some sandals, and then we have another pair of sandals, but there's actually like some ribbons coming off the back, so that's a bit more of an interesting look. With body accessories, I struggled a little bit because they changed it so that even with bracelets, the camera zooms in, and I don't think that's really necessary. But then even with this Northern Siberia Winds camera mod, it's still a little hard to show them off. But yeah, love those bracelets. And then we have these arm cuffs. So yeah, I just zoomed out and then did the undo button to cycle through the swatches that way. Very nice though, different from the stuff that we typically get. We have 3 new hats, so we have a new beanie, but it sits a lot higher than the ones that we normally get, so it is still a bit unique in that way. Nice shape and colors for that second hat, and then a beret. We already got one in City Living, but it's locked behind the art critic career, so it's nice to have one that's more easily accessible. And I like this one better than the City Living one anyways. I just feel like it looks better, and I like the way that it sits. Lastly, we have head accessories, so this set of earrings is quite nice. I almost missed the other stuff because for some reason now you have to actually click on the different categories to see the other stuff. So the glasses here were not showing up at first, and then yeah, it's weird. But they are really nice glasses though, and I like all the patterned options too. So if you need more glasses, this is a great pack for it. There are also some neck accessories. I absolutely love this neck scarf and all the different options it has. I'm definitely gonna be using that. And then we have a necklace set that goes well with the bracelet I showed earlier. And then we have some chains at the very end that also look kind of nice. Now moving on to the masculine catalog, as you may have guessed, most of the items are the same, so I'm not going to repeat myself so much for every single item. However, there is a new facial hair, this Afro texture beard, so that's pretty cool, and yeah, I like how this one was done. I mean, yeah, it's not that often we even get facial hair. It's always nice to get more of that. And yep, there we go with the hats with that beret. Now that is too bad, that hair clips with the beret a little strangely. And then we have the same head accessories available except for the earrings. And now moving on to the tops. Yeah, this actually is still a crop top on the masculine frame, so that's cool. I think even now we don't have too many of those. Then we have a pretty basic t-shirt, but with some like ruffles and stuff to change it up a little. Then we have a nice little like winter jacket. Then we have that same top as before. Yep, just some of the same things, but just more to fit the masculine frame. However, then you don't really have as many unique assets for the masculine frame, and it's a very similar thing going on when you have the hairstyles, mostly just conversions when it comes to the children. So yeah, it is too bad we can't have more unique stuff. Funny enough, in this case though, masculine got more tops than feminine, which is quite shocking. We even have some new ones we're going through now. So there's a couple of sleeveless tops with some interesting designs on them. Then we have a sweater with a fanny pack that's nowhere near their fanny, but actually slung across their chest. We have a very warm looking sweater. And then we have another sweater vest combo. And there's the sexy unbuttoned top from earlier, but on the masculine frame. Yeah, it does look a little different. Then we have a V-neck sweater and a jacket. And then the V-neck sweater, but with shorter sleeves. I don't know why that one wasn't right next to the other one. Lastly, we have a zip-up hoodie, but oh man, the texture on this one, especially the zipper and the track, does not look good to me. Moving on to the bottoms, actually, I'm just realizing now that they also have a couple more bottoms compared to the feminine frame, so what the heck? It's like I'm eating my own words, but gosh, they do not taste very good. But okay, it's definitely an interesting exception. I guess the different ones aren't much to write home about. They're just regular pants. Well, except for that one right there. But other than that, nah, it's just, okay, cool. There's more options. Okay, for full body, there are a few less options compared to feminine. There's only one unique asset to go over that we haven't already seen, which is this hoodie and vest combo. It looks really good. We don't have many outfits like this where it actually like covers the whole head, and I can see why, because then you can't see the hair anymore. But I think I might actually use that one. It looks pretty good. Then for the shoes, again, there's only one unique item, which is at the very end here with these slippers. I think they look pretty good. Got a nice shape to them. And then for accessories, we have a new watch as well as a new bracelet. I will zoom out more in a minute so you can get a better look at the bracelet, since you can't really see that as much as the watch. But I think they both look pretty nice and come with a decent set of colors. Then for the younger age groups, I, for the sake of time, crossed out the masculine and feminine tags to just be quicker to go through everything. The catalogs aren't too different anyways, but with the full body outfits for children, the first two are feminine dresses, and then we have some full body outfits for the masculine frame. I think they all look pretty cute. I love the cat related patterns especially. We also have a pair of overalls with a t-shirt layered underneath. We have 3 unisex tops. I love this sweater with the texture and the pattern on it. And then we have a t-shirt with a few different graphics on them. Also a couple stripe variants and a plain black swatch at the end. And then we have a layered hoodie, which I think is pretty nice too. There's also a unisex pair of shorts, which I suppose are okay. There's some good colors there. And then we have 2 out of the 3 hats available for children, including the berets. So yes, your children can wear berets now. For the hairstyles, there's nothing unique here. They're just age conversions from adults, but not all of them, just some of them. Unfortunately, none of them are available for infants or toddlers. But for the toddlers, they do have one unique full body outfit here. It's really nice with the sweater. And then we have 2 age conversions from children. Really everything for toddlers in terms of creative sim for this pack is converted from children, but not too surprising. I mean, businesses, that's geared towards adults anyways. Though I still think we got a bit more than we typically would, since the conversions have boosted the numbers here. Lastly, for infants, we have this really cute animal onesie that this time is themed around raccoons to go with Trashly, I suppose. Though it is too bad with Leaf here, who is also from that trailer family, their ears clipped through the hoodie. It really just depends on the ear shape, but we also have a nice pair of overalls. And that is it for Create Sim in businesses and hobbies. So again, really surprised by the selection here. I was not expecting to like as many of the pieces as I did. I still wish there were a few more unique things for children, and there are a few items where in terms of the detailing, they look a little flat compared to the other stuff. However, in the long run, I think I'm going to go back to businesses and hobbies quite a bit when I'm going to be picking out my Sims outfits. Like, for example, when it comes to athletic wear, I often refer to fitness stuff and Discover University. And then for underwear, I tend to fall back a lot on the Symptomates kit. So I think there's a lot of really good everyday and cold weather wear included with this expansion pack. And the upgraded tattoo system is great. I'm just not sure why the mirror tool is not available here when it is available for the paint tool when you use it on cats and dogs. I'll wrap up this video here. So my next video I'm planning for businesses and hobbies is my traditional no commentary ambient ASMR video that I do whenever we get new worlds. But feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on the Create Sim items in businesses and hobbies. And be sure to subscribe if you'd like to keep up with my latest gaming content. I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.